Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. This is a video that is absolutely long overdue, and the unfortunate reason I'm doing it as late as I am is I've been traveling lately. I've had a lot of affairs to put in order and things like that. I just haven't had time to do videos in the same schedule that I used to do on this channel. I believe that this is going to be the most consequential video that I do. When I'm 85 years old and I look back over my catalog, this is going to be the video that in my opinion, this is the most important thing I've discussed. So on my community page, I made a post, and I would just kind of like to go over that post in this video. And this is going to be a video about an ex-employee that I've had the honor to work with over the past 11 years. So what am I talking about? Well, I said in this community post that 14 years ago there was a family member that didn't like me very much. It didn't like me very much 14 years ago. Didn't like me very much when I was an infant or very young. They made this very clear over the course of my life until I left when I was moved out when I was 17 years old, and again at 20. And one of the ways that they did this is right before their death, they decided to find every single photo of me between the age of 2 and 17 and tear them up. Whether you have infant Lewis over here, you've got I think toddler Lewis over here. There was teenage. I'm not even going to go through. You kind of get the point. You don't choose your family. Such is life. When I moved from New York to Texas, I rented a house, and it was about 6-7 bedrooms. And I told everybody, if you're open to following your crazy boss across the country, I'll give you a raise to account for inflation. Not as much as you deserve, but as much as I can afford. And I will also give you this house that you can live in for the next year to year and a half for free, so that you can kind of save up your money for whatever if you want to move out and have a security deposit and some money stashed away and all that. And you can live here for free. I lived there for a few months until I found my current place. And when I moved to this current place, I actually left behind a box and an envelope. This is something that I had not unpacked for, honestly, 14 years. I think ever since 14 years ago, there were just certain boxes that I knew I wasn't going to want to open, and I never really did open and go through. And when I moved here, was it an accident that I left this behind, or was it kind of anyway, I'm not going to go all the way over there. I thought I had taken all my belongings, but I had not. And there's an employee that's been with me for 11 years, before I moved to Texas and after I moved to Texas. I've gone over in this little video series over here why it is I decided to move. New York had put a warrant and a lien on my company without telling me, and they sent it to Maine. They tried to cancel my business license. They fined me for laws they don't know. They tried to take $1.2 billion in an audit when I owe less than 0.1%. Anyway, this employee followed me, but unfortunately, due to family and other life circumstances, was not able to stay. Some people, unfortunately, had to stay in New York. He made a genuine effort to move, and he had to go back. So when he went back, he left me with this on his desk, and I thought I'd read it for you. His name is Steve. He's been my coworker and friend for 11 years. I know I've always said that I think it's cringy to call employees friends because you can't be friends with somebody if you have power over them. It's cringy. Like, when you hear small business owners call the person that makes $7 an hour at the counter their friend, it's just like, it just sends a chill up my spine. But I'm making an exception here, and hopefully you understand when I read the letter. Hey, Lewis. Enclosed you will find some pictures. I saw these when we first moved into Redacted. Found these when I was cleaning my desk. I had forgotten about them. Getting old, it seems. Had the guy from next door do me a favor with them. I assumed you weren't the person to tear them up. I hope I'm right. Anyway, thanks for everything, Steve. P.S. Kevin said you were ugly as a baby. Oddly enough, he thought these were my baby pictures. Haha. Fuck you, Kevin. But anyway, in all seriousness, every time I did a video for 5 years discussing something that was screwed up with in New York, where people would ask, why would you stay? Why would you stay? Why would you stay? Why would you stay? One of the things that I think that they don't understand when asking this is the reason that I was willing to go through the Shawshank Redemption sewer of shit and deal with them saying I owe $1.2 million, placing a lien on my company and a warrant, sending it to the wrong state for taxes that I paid 6 years ago, going through all of this garbage for the 2020 shit and everything else. Why was I willing to deal with this? Because I had people like this working for me. Opening a business in New York is not a smart thing to do. And keeping it there is not necessarily a smart thing to do. But leaving people like this behind would be an even stupider thing to do. And in my opinion, not doing every single thing you can to avoid leaving people like this behind is not just a disservice to them, it's a disservice to yourself. Again, as I said, you choose your friends, you don't choose your family. It was family that decided to find every single memory of me and destroy it. But it was a coworker, an employee, and a friend that decided to put them all back together for me. That I haven't even always been very good to. Leaving people behind with this level of generosity, thoughtfulness, integrity, mindfulness would be infinitely stupider than any business decision I could ever make without exhausting every possibility. When people would say, like, you're an idiot for not leaving, why not just get up and leave? People like this that are not able to leave are worth putting up with all the bullshit. Unfortunately, at some point in time, you can't. And like once I realized that like they wanted to take me for many times more than I'm worth, it's like it's time to get out of here. One of the things I've said in the past is that the Google Maps reviews that you'll find for my company, they're not a reflection of me. They're not a reflection of the owner. And to have my name on here is honestly somewhat disingenuous and unfair, because this 1,690 reviews that you'll see over the past 15 years, for a majority of that time period, it's not a reflection of me. It's a reflection of the people that I was lucky enough to be able to work with and call coworkers over the past 11 and 12 years. Like people like Steve, people like Steve that wrote this letter, people that work here now, like Dan, Orhan, Chris, Patrick, maybe Kevin. This is not a reflection of me. This is a reflection of their thoughtfulness, their generosity, their mindfulness, that they don't just display and demonstrate at work, but also in their own personal lives. That's why this business is as successful as it is, and that's why these people are so exceptional to me. When people would say, like, why don't you leave the city? Why don't you get out of here? You should just get out of here and stuff. I mean, would you? Would you be rushing to kick people out like this? I am not an easy person to work for. Sometimes I can be an asshole. Sometimes who am I kidding? Almost all the time I could have unrealistic pie-in-the-sky expectations. Sometimes I phrase things poorly. Sometimes I plan things poorly. Sometimes I don't take other people's emotions into account when speaking to them. And sometimes I'm careless and I do stupid shit. And these people have chosen to tolerate me and put up with me anyway after all these years. And again, the reason that we have the reviews that we do is not because of this. Because of this. These are the people that make this company what it is. This employee has been with me for 11 years, and working with him has been a pleasure, an honor, and a privilege. And he's not able to stay in Texas because he has things that he has to tend to back home. He's just not able to make the move. So one of the things I wanted to say is, if you do live in New York City, he has opened a place in my old location. Even though it has only been open for a very short period of time, you can see it as 11 5-star reviews, because that's just the type of business that Steve runs. I would expect him to run nothing less. I would not expect him to have worse reviews than me. I expect in a certain period of time that he's going to have more reviews than me and better reviews than me, because that's the way he does business. If you need data recovery services or MacBook repair in New York City and you don't want to mail it here, I cannot think of a better place to suggest that you take it to than to Steve's place in my old location. I wish him the best of luck. Thank you to Steve for 11 years of the best work and best company working alongside that anybody could ask for. He was one of those people that essentially, it doesn't matter how aggravated or sad everybody else is in the room because they had a bad day, or there's a customer that I don't think I'm going to be able to do something right for. He always had this way of figuring out and pinpointing exactly what was aggravating or pissing people off or what was bothersome. He would have this really, really positive demeanor and then just immediately attack the problem and make it go away. And he always kind of inspired other people to do that. He had a way of encouraging people to smile if they were having a bad day, getting people to laugh, and just had a positive way of engaging with problems, always leading by example. And, I wish you the best of luck with your new place. Again, I am far from the easiest person to deal with. I am very far from that. And I realize that every single person that works here doesn't always get to see, the happy-go-lucky side that all of you get to see, for lack of a better way to put it. But this, I just think that it's important to pay tribute to the people that, in my opinion, made this business possible. Like back in 2013, what allowed me to sit in my office for like hours and hours a day getting better at board repair? Having somebody like him to handle the problems. What allowed me to do 1,000 board repair videos back when nobody was sharing this information online? What allows this place to have the best-in-class reputation in the entire industry? It's people I'm lucky enough to work with. When I'm 80 and I look back on the story of my life and I think about the things that I was proud of, not proud of, excited about, not excited about, it's not going to be the experience of getting a new car. It's not going to be the money I make. It's going to be the having had the experience and the pleasure and the honor of getting to work with people like this. You don't choose your family who can tear your memories apart, but you do choose your friends and coworkers who can put them back together. I can't imagine giving anybody else a more sincere and positive recommendation that I'm giving him. And I cannot imagine somebody who is more deserving and earning of all the success in the world. And that's about it for today's video. Thank you very much. And as always, I hope you learned something.